RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. Today is Tuesday. Where are we here? The 6th of August. Jeez, so marching our way here through the merry month of August. Dog days of summer. Hopefully you're enjoying the fireworks. I think maybe the fireworks were probably a little bit overstated there. Calming down a bit here today. As our little title suggests, I think actually a big theme of today is Turnaround Tuesdays. I saw somebody post that in the lounge this morning, and I was like, God, I haven't heard that expression since my futures trading days. So cool to see TRIers are picking up the Wall Street lingo like they should. Anyway, so here we are, a few minutes past top of the hour. We have Sjord on the call here. Tuesdays are his day. So probably try and, let's see, Brian can try and keep this relatively brief. Maybe if we can get out of here by the bottom half of the hour. That would probably be best. And as you can see on the screen, we'll take a quick boo at the breadth. I think not a heck of a lot of new to report there, but nonetheless, I think probably pretty helpful data. We'll talk a little bit about the econs that we saw here today. Balance of trade and consumer optimism, kind of minor numbers, really. Talk a little bit about price action. Didn't really see anything too startling. Ironically enough, everything, like we've been barking for the past month or so. The stock market was in divergence. The stock market, was Willie was stupid and all that kind of stuff. And breadth indicator, of course, as you can see on our screen, has not been happy for quite a while. And looks like it's finally washing itself out. Actually, really cool to see. We've got country funds. So most of the world equity markets are getting washed out. And lo and behold, looks like we've got crypto here getting washed out, which makes sense. I suppose we'll talk about that in a moment. But, long and short of it here is you can only stretch the rubber band so far. Seeing a lot of hammers, dragonfly, dojis. Haven't quite seen the W's coming in yet, but I suppose we'll talk about that in a bit. And I suppose the big topics of today, Camilla chooses her VP, and if I understand correctly, it's an old football coach / teacher from the Midwest. So Mr. Tim Waltz. So be interesting to see how he and JD Vance joust. Frankly speaking, I have no idea who this guy is. I think he's a governor of one of the Midwest states, Minnesota. So actually, he looks like a good Minnesotan, doesn't he? From Norwegian heritage, probably. I suppose also too, I'm not quite sure what we make of this, other than it does look to me like this is going to be a bit of a horse race into this election. Versus, I think Mr. Trump thought under Mr. Biden's candidacy, this would just be a nice walk in the park for him. I honestly don't think, though. I did post on and I'm getting awfully sick not forcing myself not to call this Twitter. I mean, do you X now? Is that what you do? I gotta force myself to get over to the decentralized version of this. I'm getting sick and tired of this Twitter nonsense. But anyway, I did post a chart. I can't remember where I did that though. Talking a little bit about I was talking about something anyway. Oh, now I've lost my train of thought. When I start talking about Alan, I get all flustered. Um, I did, yeah, I tweeted something that I thought was pretty relevant there the other day, but oh yeah, here it is. Holy Brian, man, I'm getting old. I think it's time for Brian to take a little bit of a break. Anyway, this gentleman, I like to listen to him. He's kind of funny. Well, no, I wouldn't say funny. He's fun to listen to. RJ Speaks or RJ Talks, I think his channel's called. Anyway, he had uncovered that Camilla, it turns out, actually was sort of handed the, well, you will officially be the border czar. I never actually heard that memo, but I guess that was the case under Biden's tenure. And it turns out there's just an absolute horrific scandal that basically she was the authority. I mean, she was supposed to be the border czar. And so if you want, you can look into or watch this video by RJ here to get more details on that. But oh boy, what a scandal brewing there. And as I said here in the tweet, um, I mean, you know how Mr. Trump is slightly triggered by this whole border issue anyway with Mexico. Wow, if he sunk his teeth into this, he's going to absolutely love how stunningly corrupt this is. What's going on here? So, and the interesting thing about this whole sort of honeymoon about Camilla here, um, and her candidacy is that she has yet to actually speak publicly, and she won't even have a press conference because, frankly speaking, anytime she stands up and speaks publicly, it turns into an absolute train wreck. So she'll win the election just as long as she never has to talk to anybody. Oh, I swear you can't write better fiction than reality. What a mess. So anyway, my hunch is as soon as she actually starts speaking, she actually starts getting in front of the press, and the press actually starts asking about some of these scandals that are basically under her tenure. I don't know. I have a funny feeling Mr. Trump's going to be looking a lot more positive going forward. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. As for the broader market and this correction that's happening right now, as I had said there earlier, it did look to me like the breadth indicator here has been sort of warning us that there's been problems here with the internals of this market for a while. And frankly speaking, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, if we just look at the ES chart itself, um, we've been talking lots and lots about this for a while. Confirmed bear divs. This was a double div. Remember we talked about double Ds there at length. Willie was stupidly overbought. I mean, this is basically everything that we teach in our education program. RSI even spinning up divergences. So guys like Julian getting all excited about signals from RSI. So nobody out there in the world should be saying, well, this completely caught us off guard. I mean, that's a load of horse shit. Ironically enough, I don't think the damage here is actually even in the United States. What does this actually equate to? And I thought it was interesting that because these numbers are so big, that I have a lot of people who have family member and stuff like that, asking, oh my God, the stock market's crashing. And even from peak to trough, the closing level there yesterday, we're talking about an 8% correction, 8.5. I mean, that's not that much. And certainly nowhere near, official corrections are supposed to be 20%. I think that's how they define a bear market. So we're not even halfway to that point. Technically speaking, I think you can make the argument that all they did was just back price up into reload zones. And of course, if you are a fan of chaos theory, then hopefully you can see all they did was just back price up into a fucking bomb chaos theory level. So really nothing out of the ordinary here. And I might even argue bear ABCDs. This was the bearish harmonic objective. Probably move that down to there. And so you might even argue today's dead cat bounce is actually doing nothing more than bringing the market back to exactly where it wanted to be. The extreme move that we saw yesterday, of course, was an overreaction. Oh, what a surprise! And I often, if you're watching this channel because you want to learn and you want to get better at your TA and stuff, well, just 35-year market veteran, I often see this happen where this is really the market in a weird sort of way when we actually measure these moves out, this harmonic here. This is where the market wants to go, but it will often sort of like just oscillate around that level as it tries and sort of stabilizes here. So seeing and it's kind of it's basically an inside bar harami, but bringing the market right back to this harmonic level is not shocking at all. And I might even argue gap lower, gap lower. We could very easily work our way right back up. In fact, Mr. ICT and his market structure shift signals, I think you could make the argument we might have even had, well, no, actually, we didn't close below there, did we? So no, I'll take that off the table. I think we can just still work with that. The break of that, what this says to me is that, what a surprise. Mountain Man 61.8 is right up against this funny little working trend line. It's not very, that long history, but yeah, I think there is some value to this line, right up against that gap, right up against the original failure level, and good old 61.8 Mountain Man level there. So if I was looking for a place to join the short party, it certainly wouldn't be down here. It would be up in that area there, right? Good old reload zones. Might even take a serious run at those highs before whatever this dead cat bounces it finishes its move here. So the market's dumped. I might argue that momentum wise, we had lots of warnings that there was trouble. Do we actually have signs that this thing has bottomed yet? If and actually, I guess the day after tomorrow, Julian will be on the show. He absolutely loves working with his RSI study. I would just simply say, and I think I've said this repeatedly of late, probably won't get a sort of we're back as a bull market until we're on the other side of this trend line. And ideally, of course, you'd like to see W's happening there. We don't even have a W here at present here to actually stop the bear slide. We had a little one come in, but it was quickly busted. So I would still think I don't think it. I think it's too late to short, but still way too early to call bottoms here. And I guess one thing that kind of bothers me about all of this, of course, is that this is a V bottom. V bottoms, by definition, should be tested. This is also a really good lesson, though, that these chaos theory levels, quite often what will happen is the market will either blow right through 2.618. And if that's the case, then you should look for 4669s. And if it blows through 4669s, you should look for 877s. I suppose we'll see that on crypto in a moment. But if it can't blow through 2.618, what will often happen is it will just simply ping pong back against the original structural fail level here. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's sort of our trading range for the next little while here. But that is a V bottom. Wicks and tails like to beaten. Candle body lows for trade location. So whenever this sort of short-term bounce exhausts itself, you see 13 EMA probably as short-term resistance. My hunch is the rollover will have to come back down here and test this low in earnest. And it would be at that point that we should start looking at our indicators for signs of bullish divergence. We should look at things like the breadth indicator Wing out. I mean, we're nowhere near W's here. And if we put in another bottom like this, where it's just a V bottom straight up and everything just goes uber bullish instantly again, then it means at some point down the road in a not too distant future, we're going to have to come right back down just like this did and test these lows again. So nowhere near getting bullish of the market. It's just really a question of how how deep does this go, and maybe we need to consolidate a bit more to set up a new harmonic. And really, ultimately, for this market to actually be technically healthy, believe it or not, I actually, and you can already see we've been drawing lines here. I think we need to do a good old 50% retracement, which means, and ironically enough, if I'm not mistaken, well, actually, yeah. So you can see here was the highs of 2022. All this is going to be is just a Wyckoff check of this original breakout. Actually, you know what? Here's a really good example. Notice market accepted above 2.618. It went up to 4.669. And my hunch is that we got to come back down to this 2.618 here, which happens to be the 50% level there, which happens to be the Wyckoff check of a breakout there. So I mean, how does this look? It's probably going to take weeks, maybe even months to play out. We've got a huge eclipse window coming up here, and of course, we got the election. And the comments that I've just made recently are, maybe we just ought to cool our jets until we get through this election and just see where the hell the dust settles on the other side of this. Suppose finishing off our conversation here. I mean, I'm still scratching my head a little bit about what the implications are for something like Google here with this. They've been labeled a monopoly down in the States. I suppose that's half the reason why the stock's been coming off as much as it has here recently. It wouldn't. I mean, we've got Stewart coming up here, so I'll let Stewart defend Europe. And actually, there's the warning sign that I'm running out of time here. But this was actually by a U.S. judge, which I thought was interesting. U.S. judges potentially seismic ruling that Google illegally monopolizes online search and related advertising. I mean, frankly speaking, I've been talking about this for a while. These companies are way too big. They really, it would be in all of our best interest if they busted these big ass monopolies, because it's not doing any of us any favors having these big behemoths hanging over our head. And really, I might even argue, that Mr. Fink and his whole monopoly of the exchange traded fund business and how he basically manipulates society with his sort of weight in the market. Those entities should be broken up. I mean, what the hell ever happened to where's Ralph Nader in this world? Does anybody remember Ralph Nader? So anyway, it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. And of course, as I've said before, I'm just waiting for Camilla just to start talking. And then you'll find, oh yeah, I remember this nut job. Okay, yeah, get Trump in there. And then finally, the way that I'm looking at this is that honestly, I think this is just nothing more. The rally that you're seeing in the market right now, it is nothing more than what they call this is, if anything, is an absolute perfect analogy of a dead cat bounce. I mean, that's basically what this is in a nutshell. And that dead cat ain't bouncing a hell of a lot here right now. If anything, ironically enough, if you're a bull, you would actually prefer that this thing just go quiet here and get the attention away from the market. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I mean, if we had more time, I would talk a little bit more about Japan, but we're kind of running out of time. So we got to keep moving this train forward here. So final look for you. What the hell are cryptocurrencies doing? Something that I noticed in my emails here and my news feed that kind of jumped out at me, and I don't know, this is from those people that we kind of don't like now, but I'm a fan of Joe, so I'm not going to name names here. But the point is, crypto liquidations topped $1 billion. Woo wee! So I did hear some people talking about how Justin Sun might get liquidated. I have no idea about that. Also did see, and this kind of surprised me, the Secret Service is now they're lobbying to have a bill passed in the U.S. Congress, where basically they can go and do whatever the hell they want at their leisure. I mean, isn't that the way it is in our modern day 21st century society? But is this going to put more pressure on this space? It wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, so whether it be the liquidations, ironically enough, and I actually went at length about this yesterday. I mean, all we've done here is we've finally traded back to 38.2s, which is supposed to be what markets do just to clean up their overboughtness. And usually this happens like very quickly. So the fact that it's taken like 20 weeks to finally get back here to this 38.2 first stop target. I mean, if anything, this is a really, really good lesson for every new person to the market. I beg your pardon, 21 weeks. This asset has now officially been taken over by Wall Street. And this is exactly what Wall Street does to literally drive the noobs absolutely crazy. And I hate to say it, but I mean, they painted an M top here. Huge tail, counter trend rally right back up to the top end of the range. And then an M, break it down, new lows, and then right back up to the top end of the range. In this case, this was an Empire, lower time frame top. The market screwed me out of a really, really good short up top here, which pissed me off. But then room straight back down, break the market, new market structure, talk about mass liquidations, all that kind of crap. Wicks and tails like to be eaten, kind of like what you saw here. Really good learning material for all of you. So this tail here definitely will need to be eaten at some point down the road. And interesting on a weekly basis, look at our moving averages. They're starting to actually get to the point where the bullish enthusiasm should really be tempered. And if anything, one thing that jumps out at me just looking at this chart with all you here right now is whenever I see M's or W's in the moving averages, oh, Nelly, that is significant. Where's the little high? There it is. So notice this M in the 13 EMA here on the weekly price chart. That's a very bearish sign. So, if you're a Bitcoin fan, get in there and call your congressman or whatever and get this goddamn price up. But if we on Sunday close out where this M is actually confirmed in the moving average, that's a troublesome sign going forward. Having said that, I don't think anybody should be overly bullish or looking at a chart that looks like this. On the dailies, it does look to me like this is just nothing more than a trading channel. It's a downward pointing channel, which means it's going to be a total pain in the butt going forward, and they're just every time we get up to the top end of the range, in come the sellers. And also, too, I thought this was such a great analogy. I've noticed 20, 21 bars or so rally window, then 40, 50 bars of correction, then 20 bars of rally, then 40, 50 bars of correction, 20 bars of rally. So do we have like 48 bars of correction here going forward? I don't know what this correction window is going to look like. But I think we're probably best, as I've said here repeatedly, maybe let's just cool our jets. Interesting how that takes us basically into the middle of September. And when is our buddy CZ going to be let out of jail? Because actually, I think that's probably soon as. Keep in mind, I mean, half the reason why these altcoins and stuff aren't rallying is the number one guy who was pumping this whole damn space. And last cycle, and I think one of the reasons why CZ did his plea deal and just said, look at fine, okay, I'm guilty, just send me to jail and let's just get it over with real quick, was that there was documented evidence of that Alameda and all those people with CZ colluding to basically manipulate the cryptocurrency market and have these absolute insane face rips. So if Mr. CZ is in jail right now, maybe that's half the reason why the crypto market isn't doing anything right now. And by the way, the broader crypto market, it doesn't look any better. Yes, we have an inside bar here. Interesting anecdote right at that 2.618 kind of conversation again. Could we rally back up into this brick wall of moving average resistance and trendline resistance? I think so. That really wouldn't surprise me. And that's sort of the same conversation as the ETH. I do think that this guy's got to work his way a bit lower. I did put out these kind of calls on social media, and everybody sort of spat their coffee out of their noses when they saw that. I don't think we go straight line down here. If anything, I think the market's too oversold now. They got to get the kids all ramped up bullish again. And hey, now this is it. And now we're going to go up. And you can even see we're getting like nasty rainbow crosses here on all the moving averages. So I think this downtrend line and all these moving averages, that's probably the extent of our dead cat bounce rally, something along those lines. We'll see. Only time will tell. But I still think that we're basically confined in this playground. You've seen me draw these triangles and say, this is our playground. It wouldn't surprise me if we bang around in this zone here for the next little while. And of course, we've got a big old smile staring at us in the face in ETH. So there's no reason to be overly bullish here whatsoever. You fancy yourself a slick trader? You might be able to sneak your way in on a bullish setup here. But ironically enough, I would actually consider dead cat bounces, counter trend rallies, relieve the oversold condition, rally back into things like reload short zones, original bearish structure, moving average resistance as your opportunity to strap on new shorts as we head into this. I have a funny feeling the first quarter of 2025 is going to be a very challenging time, not only for the stock market, but I think also too for crypto. So, it is what it is. We have to live with that. If anything, if you fancy yourself a professional trader, you have to live with what the market gives us. And you can't push a chain. It was like one of the first expressions that I was taught, a million years ago, getting into the business, and just try and visualize that. Trying to force a bull market in the face of these big fat M's is you trying to push a chain. And just tell me how that goes. And I can tell you, it doesn't go very well. So if anything, we all just need to cool our jets, just let the dust settle. We live in very contentious times right now. And if anything, I think the best place and the best thing for all of us to do right now is identify the good quality names that you would like to participate in, and once we're done this video, which should be shortly, we're going to head over and talk to TRI CTO about some of the names that he thinks are good fundamental value in this space and have good growth stories. Maybe we'll juxtapose some technical levels on some of these charts to come up with rational trade ideas. And if anything, I would be doing your fundamental due diligence right now like a hawk. And since we are making lower highs and lower lows on all this stuff, I mean, if you're nanny nibbling in there, you're buying like 0.5%, 1% once a month, once a couple months, no big deal. And if you're loaded up, great, you're loaded up on these names. We all know that they're at the bottom end of the range, so it's not like they can go a hell of a lot lower, knock on wood. But until we actually start seeing W's come in on these things, well, we're just in hurry up and wait mode. I'm happy. I mean, I'm long a ton of crypto here, whether it be little old lady, whether it be the Solana fun account. Just twiddling your thumbs. Not really in a big. I actually got quite a bit of capital that I would like to put to work. After I'm done my vacation, I might come back and start slowly allocating the capital that we have on the sidelines to a lot of these names. Then also too, what I would strongly suggest, and if you are interested, like I said, he is on the call here today. Are you ready to rock these people world, Mr. Fjord?
Yeah.
Okay, that didn't sound like a rock star on stage ready to go.
Yeah,
So,
I'm fixing the anticipation.
all right, there you go. All right, so point of the matter here is maybe pop on over to TRI, listen to what fundamental analyst is saying about some of these names. and what TRI's fundamental plan is here going forward in the space. I think Sjord is by far one of the best crypto analysts I've ever run into, and I certainly have the privilege of working with him every day. Very, very intelligent person. And if you are serious about investing in this space, at the very least, just hearing what he has to say, I think is valuable unto itself. All right, let's leave the free broadcast at that. Slow and steady wins the race. PMA for the win. Remember, of course, what your number one job is. Try not to take any wooden nickels, although I can understand that that's a bit dangerous these days. Probably lots of wooden nickels going out and around. Remember what your number one job is, right? Don't go and blow yourself up here, people. Slow and steady wins the race. And the only thing left for me to say to you, good people here today, is bye for now.